the world-renowned composer. The sound execution just lie on the poster. I blame my ex of evil written. I'm not wrong, 'cause tomorrow I'm forgets it.
Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. Let me know if you can hear me. Hi, Adriana. Hi, Rosalyn. It's good to see you guys. I haven't done this in forever, so who knows if it's working, but I see some of you in the chat, so it must be working a little bit. I wanted to stop in and talk about what's been going on a little bit with me, and even more so what's been going on with Stephen Hilton and Laura Clery, because I'm all over this. Adriana, I miss you so much. I love you. I watch you all the time on Facebook. For anyone who isn't aware, I'm really careful who I talk to. There are only a few people that I even communicate with anymore. Adriana, you're one of those people, but I do it rarely because I've dealt with a lot of stalking over the past year. Hi, Terry C. I love your bird picture. Now, I have to say, this song is a little bit mean towards Stephen Hilton, but I really think it's a banger. I just really love the song. It does make me laugh a little bit. And I have some issues with Stephen right now. I've really gone down this rabbit hole where I have taken the middle ground. I'm going to talk more about that. But I've seen some things having to do with Stephen lately that have really broken my heart. It's literally broken my heart. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you. Hi, everybody. Let's listen to this song a little bit more. So much going on here. This is not written by Stephen himself. The people on TikTok and Reddit made something about Stephen. They've made a bunch of different songs about him. And you know that I have been really standing up for Stephen in a lot of ways. But today, he broke my heart in a lot of pieces. And after I listened to this, I said, I don't know. It's a little bit much. Of course, I don't really want anything bad to happen for Stephen, but it's a banger of a song. Hi, Ivana! Ivana! I'm so happy to see you. Ivana and Adriana, my two OGs. You guys are the originals for me. I'm so glad to have you here. I am in the middle of pack out. I'm happy to see you, Ivana. It's so good to see you. I'm in the middle of pack out. This is a really hard time for all of us, for my family. I've been through this over and over again. We move every 2 years, and I'm in the middle of pack out, heading out to Africa. Of course, everything that's been set up, every date that we had, everything that we were told was going to happen a certain way never happened that way at all. Every day, something new arrives on my shit list. And as lucky as I am and as grateful as I am to be able to go to all these new places and do so many new things, it is really hard having to move like this constantly with 2 children and one of them being on the spectrum. It's definitely been very difficult. And I have had to, prepare my kids that we're going to a place where we may not always have electricity or internet or, air conditioning or whatever. And so, we're really used to these luxuries, these American luxuries after 2 years here. And, we've been through it before, but my kids were younger back then. So this is going to be a whole different kind of situation. And even though my kids, yes, Adriana, my kids are super excited. Jack and Aubrey are very excited to head down this rabbit hole. And I'm the one that is incredibly nervous because I will be the one propping them up and supporting them all and making sure that they have the kind of food that they can eat, and going to the market and watching people slaughter goats, and, just really having to change what I'm used to, be more flexible. And of course, the only thing I care about is that my kids are happy. I've always said, if my kids are happy, I can live anywhere. Hi, Grace Peter. So good to see you too. You're another OG. Thank you for being here. Ivana says, I bet they're excited, but mom works the hardest. Yes, that's the point that's the whole, story of my life. Even though, oh my God, like I know that I am lucky to be able to do this, but yeah, mom really has to pick up the pieces and support everybody and hold them up on top of her, failing decrepit body, pick everyone up and hold them up as we go through this moving process. So it's been a lot. And I did stop my job, I think it was a few weeks ago. And, I've had some boredom related to all of that, some loneliness, because I had so many, close friends at the job, and I enjoyed being around them. So I was like, you know what? I went back to making YouTube videos. It's like a coping skill for me. Adriana, that's really sweet of you. Adriana says you have this community that loves and supports you. Yeah, I love like my just core people, like the few people that come around and are very kind. Hi, Michelle. I don't know how you do it. Yeah, it's gotten harder every time, I feel, because the first time it was like, oh, it's a challenge. I was younger. I had never done it before. Now, like, when it comes around again, every time it gets harder. Every time I'm like, I don't want to do this. And with this situation, we're packing out. We also have to pack out a consumables, like a huge 700-pound load of consumables. That means like flour, sugar, oil, things that I guess it's not safe to get a lot of these products where we're going. It might be hard to get them. They may not be available. It's just all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Koi, so good to see you. I think as the kids get older, it'll be more difficult. It's going to be more difficult for them, for sure. Like, they barely notice other times that we've moved. So this is going to be interesting for sure. Okay. So because I'm staying home and I'm like a busybody, and I'm doing all this stuff with the packing, but I have to put my brain power somewhere. I have been following a couple of different stories online, and one of them is about Laura Clery. If you haven't watched, I've made several videos about this, and I find it really interesting. I'm talking about it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be talking about it because I feel sad about the entire situation. But Laura's a very famous, very popular Facebook comedian. She's made a lot of money on Facebook. She has expanded to like Instagram and YouTube. She has a podcast now. There's a lot of things I really like about Laura. I think she started in like 2017, 2018. I made a whole like deep dive with some basic facts of what's going on here with Laura. She has a husband named Stephen Hilton. He's a composer, or kind of like a former composer. When they got together, it was like he had the money and power, and now they've moved into a place where Laura is making the majority of the money for all of them through her social media. Her social media is very important to them. They also had, let me fix this. They also had 2 kids together, and they put that all over social media. They are adorable, wonderful kids, and one of them is on the autism spectrum. Their son is neurodiverse. Steven is also neurodiverse. Of course, I was like drawn to this like a moth to a flame because my son is also on the spectrum. And I just really like to support and watch and hear about families that are dealing with some of the same things that we're dealing with. So I loved watching some of the stuff that Laura put on about her kids. I am the kind of person who likes to watch families, like reality shows with families on them. And so I never want them to go away completely. And yet I've seen how unhealthy it can be. So it's kind of a dichotomy of like me feeling like, oh, this is not a good thing. We shouldn't put our kids on TV and on the line. And then I really like watching that stuff because I can relate to it. I like to see other families. I like to get ideas about how my family should run. So I kind of go back and forth about all of it. I enjoyed watching Laura. I really liked Steven. And I'm going down a rabbit hole on the fact that they've been separated. They're going through a divorce. They haven't signed the final papers, but Laura really wants to. And Steven has had kind of like a whole chaotic crisis over the past couple of years. A lot of really crazy things have happened. Oh, Adriana says, their videos got me through the pandemic. Hi, Lulu B. It's good to see you. So good to see all of you. And Ruth Carroll, oh, all my OGs. So glad to see all of you. So, I was watching these videos. Steven's going crazy. Laura's talking about it all over her Facebook. And I started looking into it further and further. And what I kept seeing is that everyone, so many people, 99% of the people who were commenting were all on the side of Laura. Like they were really hyping Laura up. They were coming down so much on Steven. People were telling him to unalive himself. People were telling him that he's the devil. It was just so negative towards him and so positive towards Laura that it skewed me to kind of come over to Steven's side and want to know what's going on with him. That's the basic truth of how I am as a person. How long have they been on YouTube? So Ivana, I did do a deep dive about it. And I don't remember. I think they've been on since like 2018, maybe even before that. I know Laura was posting to this other social media platform called Vine, and that might have been in 2016. So they were early on. And I think they became very popular during the pandemic, as many people did, like Katie Joy, right? Like some of the biggest people on social media, they were like, they positioned themselves in the right place during the pandemic. And Laura and Steven were all over Facebook during that time. Hi, Sarah. Oh, so good to see you. Nice to see you guys. Oh, my people. I miss you so much. I've been talking about my life, but now I'm talking about Steven and Laura. So this is the thing about me. I really like to champion the underdog. Whenever everybody wants to support this one person, I'm always going to look at the other side, the other person. I'm always going to be interested in what's going on with them. I have a tendency to, when everybody is so positive about something, I have to look at the other side of it. And this really angers, I've noticed, a lot of you on my YouTube page. Not so much some of my OGs, Ivana, Lulubi, Sarah. I mean, some people that have always like been there. Adriana, you guys don't always come after me. Thank you. But there are a lot of people that come to my page and they're like, are you kidding me? How can you support this lunatic, Steven Hilton? And, I'm kind of in the process of going through the deep dive. I have a lot to learn about what's going on here because you only see some of what they're putting on social media. There's a lot more information out there. Now they have so many different social media pages that I'm not watching all of them. So there was a lot to learn. I'm still learning about it. And yes, I will always, in the beginning, I have a tendency to champion the underdog, number one. Number two, in my life, I really like people who are different. I like people who are outside of the norm. I like people who say and do things that everybody else says is stupid or they don't know what they're talking about. Steven went on this like alt-right kind of like rampage, which is funny to me because I'm actually a very liberal person and I may not agree with a lot of what he had to say, but I like loved it and I loved him because I just like people who are outside of the norm. I enjoy them. I enjoy that their mind is like expanded enough to go and look at different situations in a different way. I like listening to them. I want to hear what they have to say. I don't always agree with it. Many times over, I don't agree with it. And yet I'm just like, that's interesting. I'm glad I got to listen. I want to listen to that person. If I met Steven in person, I probably wouldn't like him very much, wouldn't want to hang out with him. And yet I like listening to some of the crazy ramblings he has. I like people who are different. He's neurodiverse. That is something that I'm really attracted to. I just find myself being like, I like people that are on like both ends of the spectrum. You could say like, if you put it in terms of like conservative and liberal, it would be like, I love people who are all the way over here on the liberal side and all the way over here on the conservative side. I just like people who challenge me to look at things differently because I'm right down the middle and that's how I feel about it. Hi, KCL. KCL says, I'm not a fan of Steven or Laura. I think Laura is fake. Now that is very rare because 99% of the people that I was watching on all the social media pages are in love with Laura. And many of them have come to my YouTube channel and they left comments where they're like, what is wrong with you? What kind of horrible mother and nurse are you that you would support this horrible person, Stephen Hilton? And I was like, well, I mean, a lot of what I've put out there on my videos is still very middle of the road. I'm looking at both sides of the story. I have seen, again, this is coming from someone who falls on a very liberal side of the equation, but I have seen men, especially men who, are conservative, really get crucified as of late. And I'm not all down with that. I like to look at like what's going on there. Like, let me get in there. Let me see what's happening. So Stephen, he's said some kind of like shitty things about trans rights. But I also understand, like, it's just so hard for me because I support trans rights. And yet I also support people who don't believe in trans rights because I kind of get where they're coming from. And I care about them too. And I see maybe why they would like feel that way. And can't we all come together and just find a solution in the middle somewhere? And that's who I am. That's how I am. In real life, that's how I am. So when I started up my videos again and I had no thoughts about like, because you can really attract people to your social media and YouTube channel if you take like a hard stance and you go on Facebook and you see that everybody loves Laura. So you make sure that in your videos, you love the hell out of Laura, because then everybody's going to come to your channel and they're going to support you. I went through this with Gypsy Rose. I've stood up and said, yeah, I think Gypsy was really badly abused by her mom. People didn't like that, but I'm going to still say what I believe, what I think based upon my own research and what I've done. So a lot of my videos thus far have been supporting Stephen, kind of showing that Laura has been exaggerating. She's maybe told some things that I felt were untruths about Stephen. I also feel like she's really using this crisis to pull people to her channel, pull people to Facebook, and really push making a lot of money right now. And that's obvious. She's using the crisis in that way. Stephen is also using it in that way. And I think it's a really sad look at the way that social media and money can destroy a family system. Let's see. Ivana says, I understand. You kind of get where I'm coming from. That's how I feel. I know not everybody feels that way. Ruth, yes, I'm going to Africa, and I talk about it a little bit earlier. Lulu B says they seem to be trying to ruin each other's reputations. Yeah, and that's, yes, that's really sad. So I did want to go through, I think here, I'm going to go through a couple of things. This is just a little, little get together. I wanted to see you guys. I'm so glad to see you. I'm in my pajamas. I'm working my butt off, and this is kind of like my time to hang out with people that I like. Adriana says, it is really sad more than anything for the kids. 100%. That's one of the biggest problems with all of this. And it is sad. And the kids are amazing. And I know Laura is trying to be an amazing mom to them. That's what I see. And I believe that there was at least a time when Stephen was very devoted to being a good dad to them as well. Something is going on with him now, something big. I think it's mainly drugs. But yeah, it's sad to watch it. Once again, I felt like Stephen was, getting this restraining order, being pushed away from his kids. I don't like that. He was calling it parental alienation. I could see a little bit of that, and I was frustrated. Now, a lot of things have changed for me, and I'm going to tell you why. I think it was this morning, someone sent me a video that's been privated by Laura, and it's from her Patreon. It's like a live from her Patreon. In this live on her Patreon, I see Laura being more genuine than what I've seen before from her, number one. And number two, she gives a lot of information about what's been going on for the past 2 years that I had no idea about. And I know that we don't know everything that's going on. And we're not hearing Stephen's side of the story, but what Laura had to say, I believe it. And it did change the way that I'm looking at some of this. And I'm going to make a video specifically showing, I'm not going to show because it's from her Patreon. I'm just going to do the audio of the most important parts where Laura is kind of sharing This was a shock to me because in all of my research that I've done over the past week, it was my understanding that Steven was the one who had a lot of money when they came into the relationship, and that he was still kind of floating them with the money he had from composing for these Hollywood movies, and that Laura had made a lot of money, but they didn't have much left over because she spends so much on the 2 houses and everything else that's going on. In this live stream, Laura exposes that she has been paying for everything, the kids, the houses, everything for herself. He doesn't pay any kind of child support. And that has been over the past 2 years. And she has been bankrolling, trying to set up a business for him. She talks about how she made him the producer on everything she does so that he can get, his own money from it. And all of that money is gone. And she basically says, everything I've had in my savings is gone from trying to float this for so long. And this was kind of a shock for me. I did not know that this was part of what was happening in the background. Now, I'm sure Steven could say some other things about it, but I believe Laura when she puts this out there, and I have a lot to say about it. Right now, I want to go into what just happened and how it broke my heart about Steven and really bothered me. Sarah says, I'm new to this couple. What is Steven's rug of choice? What does that mean? I'm not hip. What does that mean? What is his rug of choice? Oh, his rug. Okay, like what does he have? Everything, Sarah. I mean, from mushrooms to you name it, he's done it. Fentanyl, just all kinds of stuff. And these people were addicts. If you go and watch the first video that I did, or if you can look up anything about Steven and Lauren, they'll give you this information. They were addicts, and they met and kind of came together because they were doing a 12-step program, and they found each other in Hollywood. At that point in time, Laura was really a nobody. I mean, she was trying to make it as an actress and a comedian. And they kind of bonded over the fact that they had former lives in which they were using drugs, and now they were clean and sober. So this has been a big part of what they've talked about on their social media. And I'm not going to go into all of it because it is in the videos, but Steven has gone back to using. He's admitted that. He's saying that he's using for quite a while now. People are saying he was probably using long before he admitted it. So there's a lot going on here. Oh, Callie. So Callie is going to bring up one thing. You got to go check my video to hear about this. But yes, one of the biggest issues that I had with Laura, and some people, they really criticized me about this. They were like, you're just jealous of Laura. So I said, one of the issues that I have with Laura, and I'm a supporter of Laura's, is that a couple of years ago, I was watching her. Let me make myself bigger. I was watching her. She was moving into this new house that they bought, which was less than a mile down the road from their house that they already have in the Hollywood Hills. And I was like, wow, they must have like so much money. Good for her. That's crazy. But then she did like a renovation series on her social media. They renovated the whole house. It was amazing. And I kind of expected that. And I was like, okay. Then they put in an in-ground pool in the back. And I was like, wow, that's amazing for Alfie and Poppy. Like, that's great. And then they did something which I can never forgive her for. She did a whole series about putting in $150,000 waterfall behind the pool, like as part of the decor in the outside. And I was just like, no. Just in my head, I was like, okay, she better never like come on Facebook and be like, guys, I really need like a GoFundMe or like I need you to go to my Patreon and so I've had an issue with that. I had an issue with it. I couldn't. Luby, doesn't everyone have $150,000 waterfall? Well, I know I do, but like when it broke down and shut off, I didn't get it fixed, Lulubi, but she still got hers running in the backyard. It was too much. And especially when you have a child with autism, I know what that's like. Like, I just was like, wouldn't you want to put that money towards something for that child? It didn't sit right with me. Okay. Maybe I'm being like, quote unquote, jealous, but, I'm not jealous in that I don't want $150,000 waterfall in my backyard. I want my children to have what they need. So, that was just kind of like a little bit too much for me. And lately she's been asking for money. And I'm kind of like, and Steven's asking for money like crazy. So this is a whole issue. For those of you who are just coming in, we'll listen to the song one more time. I know this song is harsh. I said before, I like it. It's a song made by Reddit. There's this whole Reddit devoted to hating Steven. This is one of the reasons where I was like, I'm not going to hate on Steven. And I still feel that way. And yet I really like this song. And someone said it was really mean. And maybe it is, but I don't know. I really like it. So, because Steven composes, he did not compose this. Ooh, hold on. Got to cancel this. Let's make this big. We'll listen to this, and then we're going to get into the screenshots from today that were kind of sad from the whole saga.
Alright, stop. I'm Stephen Hilton. I'm back with a brand new invention. Stole, no, I just wrote that. Hans Zimmerman has got my back. My life sucks. I blame my ex, but she knows me. I lost custody of my kids because going to court is boring. Won't take a bath because baths are for the normies. I'd sleep slave drugs because it's easier than coping. I'm Stephen Hilton, the world-renowned composer. The sound executive, just lie, I'm not a poser. I blame my ex of evil red sin. I'm not wrong, 'cause tomorrow I must forget it.
Okay, I like the song. I think it's funny. So they talk about a lot of things. They're talking about Hans Zimmerman. Oh, this is a joke on the Reddit, and I do think it's funny. Steven's worked with Hans Zimmerman, but it was, several years ago, but he talks about it all the time. Even in his response to the restraining order against Laura, he's like, I was brought here to work with Hans Zimmerman because I'm an excellent composer and kind of considered a genius. And that was the intro for for his restraining order stuff. And it was a little bit too much. So, okay. Let me go up here. Okay, I lost it, but where is it? Can I go up a little bit? Okay, yes. Okay, I like these statements. Okay, Sarah, he's not even using at this point. He's manic with delusions and psychotic symptoms. Yes, I actually do think he's still using somewhat. But yeah, and I've said this. It's mania. Okay. Oh my gosh. In my job where I work, you guys, I have seen so much. I mean, we're talking about young children who come in their first time using they think they got marijuana or something from the local gas station, and there's something synthetic in it, and those kids, they're in psychosis. Number one, I would say probably 70 to 80% of them, we can get them through the psychosis and get them out of there and they're back to normal. There is a portion of them, and it is so sad, they come in as totally normal kids. I remember someone said to me, I know that kid, he works at the grocery store, he used to work at Walmart or whatever, and he had lost all ability to looks like a child with schizophrenia, wouldn't make eye contact with us, talks about how people are shooting lasers and beams of light at him. And this is 2 years into treatment. So I have been shocked by some of what I've seen when people are using a product that probably just has something they don't even know what it is in it. It's really sad, right? So I'm not saying that that's what's going on with Steve. I mean, there's a lot going on with Steven, but when you have that kind of psychosis, it's scary to think you may not even be able to get him out of it. And one thing with Laura and Steven, I'm not sure how Laura feels now, is that earlier, a couple of years ago, when they first came out and started talking about autism, and they admitted that Steven he had some kind of a test done and he's on the spectrum and he's neurodiverse. They were they don't believe in medications. They don't believe in antidepressants. They don't believe in all this kind of stuff. They only want to live a holistic lifestyle. They're vegan. I really respect that, and I think that's great. But I mean, when we're talking about psychosis, you need help. When we're talking about mania, you need help. And it's the kind of help you can get from medications. Jill says, AA discourages dating within the group because of emotional dependency. And if one slips, the other has a higher risk too. Yeah, for sure. And that makes perfect sense. It also makes sense that people find each other through the group. Okay, so this is what Laura posted on her, let's see, why can't I make this bigger? Okay, there we go. This is what Laura posted on her Facebook today. Now, there's been so much that's happened. I've made multiple videos about this, and I still haven't covered everything, and there's a lot more to cover. Okay. Laura posted, ugh, I just opened my phone to more public bashing from someone I used to trust with my whole heart. So obviously, Stephen, someone who I still only wish love, peace, and contentment for. Maybe this is why it hurts so badly. The relentless daily bashing is just heartbreaking. I don't know how I'm still hurt or surprised by it at this point, but I still am. And it's not just hurtful and scary to me. It's devastating on so many levels, especially for our children. All I've ever wanted was healing and peace, but instead I'm met with relentless cruelty. It just hurts. All of it hurts. I get why women are scared to leave. I get why women stay quiet, but this too shall pass. So when I first saw this, I was like, Laura, stop taking this to social media, because I've been critical of that. I was a little bit annoyed with her posting this. And I was like, well, what is she talking about? Let me go over to Steven's page and see what he's been up to. And this is what he was up to that I found heartbreaking and incredibly disappointing. And I was like, oh no, Steven, that's bullshit. And I'm not going to play with you about shit like this. There's a lot going on here, but this really got to me. So Steven was on his social media posting about his new money-making scheme, which is Substack. So he already has an OnlyFans, a Facebook, a Patreon. He's been pushing all of them like crazy over the past 2 months, 3 months. And during that time, I think I mentioned this, he came into the top 5% of producers on OnlyFans, you guys. On OnlyFans. Are you kidding me? Like, this makes me want to start an OnlyFans account, because if this guy can make something happen for himself, I don't see why I couldn't, like, as a sister wife. And I really mean that. And I'm not kidding you when I say I may be making a real OnlyFans account. And I'll have to share it with you guys, because and it's going to be about sister wives. That's the only thing I can do, is like pretend to be a sister wife. There's another thing. Okay, I'm going to tell you one more thing. There's another thing I've thought about doing on OnlyFans before, when I was like, I really need to make some money. I went on YouTube, because I don't know a lot. I'm not very kinky. I'm pretty bland in a lot of ways, although other things that, never mind, let's not get into that. Anyway, I was like, what is something that I could do that's like different? Because everybody's already doing feet. Everybody's already doing like straight, being sexy, whatever. Like, that's all taken. I need to be like different. I need to have something that's unique. So I went onto like the internet and like looked some stuff up, and I found out there's this kink that people have where a woman pretends on the internet. It has to be through the internet. It has to be through the internet and video. She pretends like she's a giant. She's a giant. And the man is just like a little tiny guy in her hand. And she just, oh my God, you're so cute. You're so small. And I'm so big. I just want to take care of you forever. Here, just come over here to my bosom. I'm not kidding you. Look it up. It's a thing on YouTube. So it's a thing on YouTube, and they don't go like all the way with it. But I'm going to go all the way and take it over to OnlyFans. And that's going to be like my thing on OnlyFans, along with the sister wives, because I've got to get like 2 different categories going. I'm going to be a giant who takes care of little men who want to be taken care of. Jill B says, I'm glad you're live today down the rabbit hole. Bedtime, missed you lots. So thank you, Jill. It's good to see you. Hope Africa treats you well. I went to Cameroon in 2011 for 6 months with Doctors Without Borders. Yeah, I've never been to Africa. We've been so many places. We wanted to go to Africa. We really wanted to go. We are going to one of the most dangerous places, and it's going to be hard. But my husband's doing is supposed to be doing some really impactful work. So we'll see. And there's an amazing school there for my son. So I'm excited to go, but I'm also like, I know that I will not be in a place where I can just like, walk around and enjoy myself or anything like that. It's going to be an adjustment. Okay. let me go here. I know a girl who pops balloons and sits on cakes and she makes $2,000 a month. Yes. Like that's already taken too. So, like people have taken a lot of things. So this is where I have to, the fifth wife is going to be part of it. Okay. Let's make this bigger again. Get back. Sorry. That was an aside. Forget all of that. Going back to what's going on with Stephen Hilton. So I pop over to Stephen Hilton's social media and he's advertising his Substack. Okay. He's made a ton of money. He got into the top 5% of OnlyFans. I think he has some money rolling in. So he is advertising that on Substack, you can like go there and pay to read the stuff that he writes. And he says it's the needed writings. Now, the cult that he's creating, other people are calling it a cult, is called The Needed. Okay. And this says Needed Writings by Stephen Hilton. Stephen Hilton is a world-renowned composer who is developing a new system of belief and community around sound. I talk about this in my video. I'm going to do a more deep dive on it. It really is, okay, I have to do the deep dive because I like the idea of sound healing. I know some people who do this. I think there are good things about it. Do I think it's going to change the entire world? No. I don't believe everything that Stephen believes about it. I think it could be something good for his son because he really kind of frames it in like, Alfie showed me the way to this and I'm doing this for Alfie. I believe like some of that could be really helpful for his son. And yet he's being, freaking psychotic about it, like, yeah. So there are issues going on here. Okay. So Stephen, he's advertising this and this, so he's going to show us like a small portion of what he's writing on Substack. He shows this for free on Facebook so that we'll all go to Substack and we'll subscribe and we'll pay money to him. Okay. All right. So let's look and see what's going on here. So the Needed Writings by Stephen Hilton. And then this is what he put up on Facebook for everyone to see, and go to Substack and read the rest of it. He writes, I married beneath me. Controversial thing to say. Yes, but only if you're a man. TW. If you love the Pamela Pumpkin character, that's his wife, you are about to find out something that will ruin the whole thing for you. I hear women saying this all the time and getting applauded for it, but I know I might be killed for misogyny with this. But bear in mind, I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about one specific woman. I married beneath me in taste and intellect. You are a commie elitist, my ex would say, for my love of Ricky Gervais. Said it was so mean what he did to all the stars at Golden Globes. Okay, it goes on. I didn't put all of it in here, and obviously you can go to his Substack to read more. But for me, it really ended the feelings I had to try to support Stephen more. I know he's done a lot of other shit that people are going to say is worse, but I've really tried to give him the benefit of the doubt about a lot of things. To even have a thought in your head, to even be the kind of person who would say, I'm married down. That's not the kind of person I can support. That's wrong on so many levels. That is what Laura was responding to. He made that public. He's obviously doing it to fuck around with people and kind of be like, look what you can get over on Substack. It's like all my haters, I think he recognizes, get all the haters to come too, because they want to use it for content or whatever, or they just like to make fun of me, and I'll make a shitload of money. A la Katie Joy, So when I read that and there was more to it, I was just like, no, thank you. Not at all. This is not the kind of person I can even, I want him to get better. I want his kids to have someone that loves them and is stable around them. But this is just, that's beyond, that's not even psychotic. That's just being an asshole, a horrible person. You don't talk about people that way. You don't even I would never think about people in that way. Like, I'm better. There's a whole class system and I'm just more intellectual. I don't like that. Not at all. And after that, I went forward with really watching this live that I was sent, in which Laura talks about what's been going on with Steven over the past couple of years and gives a lot more information. And I was really disgusted. I was like, okay, this is too much. I will still stand up for Steven, because when there are things that I think are being exaggerated or being used in an inappropriate way. So when I do show you the live, or I do let you hear the live that Laura did, one thing that really bothers me about it is she's talking to these countless fans on her Patreon. They're typing to her kind of like we are right now. I guess you can do the same kind of thing on Patreon. And she's saying to them, what did he say? What did he do? And they're saying, Laura, we saw that he's in Arizona. He went to Arizona, because I guess she's kind of making it like she doesn't look at his stuff, and they tell her what's happening. He went to Arizona. He drove all the way out to Arizona. He's probably out there with some woman. And she's like, oh my God. And they're like, Laura, we figured out what hotel he's in. We can send you all the information. And she's like, oh my God, my people, you guys take care of me. And I really don't like that. Those are strangers on the internet that you are promoting to stalk your mentally, debilitated husband. Those are strangers. Like, let's say Ivana and Adriana, been with me forever. I love you guys. And we do chat sometimes a little bit on Facebook, and I care about you, but we are still the kind of people, like, you have your own families. I have my own family. If you came to me and said, let's say you gave me, you guys are wonderful, but if you gave me an idea that you were like, Katie, I don't like your husband. There's some issues with him. One thing I would say to myself is I really like Ivana, but she doesn't know everything about me. She's not my family, my mom, my aunt, people who are really invested in my life. I'm not going to take what you say and just run with it and be like, you're right. Let's get a whole group of people together to go after him, and Ivana would be the same. What if I said to Ivana, oh, we chat sometimes. I just want you to know, I saw something going on your Facebook with your son, and I didn't like blah, blah, blah. Ivana's going to be like, fuck you. You don't know my family. And instead, I think whereas Steven has become addicted to drugs, it's like Laura's addiction is the attention and the affection from this group of people that are her community. And while I understand that, because look at me, I'm the same. I'm like, yay, I'm moving again. It's lonely. I love talking to you guys. I have my few people that I love. Yes. Okay. So Ivana gets it. Adriana gets it. Yes, that's what it is. Right. I love you guys. But if you were to start coming into my real life and doing things, and if I were to do the same to you, it would be weird. Okay, look at this. I agree. Divorce, Lulu B says, divorce can turn people into totally different characters. I saw it with my own parents. Yeah. And what kind of hurts me too is I think in the beginning, I really saw two people who wanted to do the best they could as parents and as partners. And it really makes you realize that, there's good and bad to everyone, right? I can't completely throw Steven out with the bathwater. I will stand up for him if a cause comes for me to do that. But yeah, I didn't like what he had to say there. I didn't like it at all. I can tell you that. Okay, so let's make this bigger. I just wanted to go through some comments that people left me. I didn't block out your names, but hopefully it's okay with you guys. These are comments that people left on my videos about Laura and Steven, and I wanted to respond to some of them or just talk about them in general. The first one is Brandy, and she says, it's interesting watching two narcissists try to get the crowd after each other. Yeah. That is definitely happening over on Reddit. There are two different Reddits dedicated to making fun of and stalking and belittling Steven Hilton. And I think early on, Laura wasn't paying much attention to them. And now she's all over that Reddit. When she does this live, she's talking to her fans and she's being like, yeah, on the Reddit, blah, blah, blah. What did they say on the Reddit? And I wouldn't want that for someone in my real life, that they have a Reddit that's coming after them. That's not what I want. It's been interesting watching two narcissists try to get the crowd after each other. I refuse to get emotionally invested. Let the judge work it out while I pop in every once in a while to see how the slow-moving train wreck is going. Both the parents suck, although I like Laura's funny content. The kids deserve better. Yuck, about the Reddits. I know, it's crazy. Bringing the kids into the drama is so wrong. Yeah, so I really see this. It is now. Let me say this, Lula B, you should come maybe and do a live with me, because I wonder how you feel about this, or maybe we can talk about it or something. Like, I don't really like how everyone is a narcissist now. Like, anybody that does anything that you don't like, it's like, oh, they're a narcissist. You know, I don't even think, I don't see Katie Joy, who's someone I don't like, as a narcissist. I don't see it like that. I think there's I call her a sociopath. But everybody's a narcissist. You don't like something that they do, they're a narcissist. I just don't like that. It's become a whole thing. And I was thinking to myself, like, in my career, long career as a nurse and all the psych stuff that I've done, and I've worked with prisoners, and I've worked with people who, I mean, just really the rough crowd, people that nobody else wants to work with, flat out. They have trouble getting nurses to work in these facilities. I've never been around anyone that was diagnosed as a narcissist. They've seen the psychiatrist. So I'm just saying, like, it's actually, you know, it's to actually have a diagnosable narcissistic personality, like, it's just very rare. And I feel like people just, it's way over the top, you know, it's just too much. It wasn't clear referring to KJ being addicted to the attention. Oh, I was actually referring to Laura being addicted to the attention. That I feel like Steven has this addiction to drugs, but Laura is addicted to the attention. And that I could understand that. Like, I get it, because I can even see it in my own way in some, you know, I can see it in my own life. But my issue was, like, the way that Laura was using her fan base, and even in this live, like, the way they were all talking about the Reddit, and they were like, Laura, we know where he's staying. We could send you the coordinates of where he's staying in Arizona. It's like that. I would be like, look, that's my ex-husband, and, like, he's a person, and I don't want you guys, like, kind of stalking him like that. So let's go on to the next comment. Domestic Goddess says the pleasant conversations validate Laura's constant attempt to co-parent and put her kids first. Okay, so this, I thought this was interesting. Domestic Goddess is responding to the fact that I made a video in which I said, like, Steven's telling the truth, and not that Laura was lying, but that I thought Laura she was being a little disingenuous. So Laura was kind of acting like she did not give Steven permission to take the kids, and he just took the kids, and it was crazy. And I made a video, said, like, did Steven kidnap the kids? Steven, in his restraining order, like the response to the restraining order, he showed texts between he and Laura, in which Laura is telling him that he can take the kids, he can keep them till the morning, the nanny will come get them in the morning. So she did flat out gave him permission to take the kids, number one. But then number two, after that, they have all this really pleasant conversation. They're talking about a garden. They're talking about, like, going to pick up Poppy. They're really pleasant conversation. And it's like just the next day she files the restraining order on him. So I was kind of like, you know, it's kind of Steven's acting like, I have no idea why she filed this restraining order against me. Like, we were having really pleasant conversation. And Laura's like, he knows what's going on. So when I saw this back and forth and they're having pleasant conversation, I was questioning, like, why is this happening? So this person says the pleasant conversation validate Laura's constant attempts to co-parent and put her kids first. If she was being bitchy and short, you would judge that too. I actually, and I can't see my reply here, but I was like, actually, I kind of agree with that. I think the pleasant conversations do validate a little bit that Laura's trying to get through this. I also heard in the live from Laura that she was specifically told by the people she talked to not rile Steven up, to not talk to him about what, you know, she was going to do before the restraining order, because they were worried he would do something inappropriate. And I can understand some of that. So you can see both sides of that. Okay, Binky says him having his kids with only him through him did endanger his through Okay, and when he was so basically she's saying that he was on drugs, and then he took the kids and, he took them overnight and buzzed all around Hollywood in his new car with him. Yes, I do agree that possibly did endanger. Oh, great. Lula B, we should do this. You want to do it now? No, you probably can't do it now. Yeah, we should do it another time. Is narcissism an actual diagnosis? I think narcissistic personality disorder is a diagnosis, right? And Elizabeth says, yes, and you can have tendencies without being completely diagnosed. It's a complex disorder. Yes, I agree with all of that. That's something else that I've come up with. You can do things that are narcissistic, but it doesn't mean that you have narcissism or that you have narcissistic personality disorder. And that has been a real issue for me. Okay, here's Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, I work in the mental health field as well. Narcissistic abuse is more common, even though there may not be a diagnosable disorder, and is much more common than we think because of it. Well, I think that it's popular to talk about narcissistic abuse right now. I would question... I question a lot of that, but I'm also, let me say this, Elizabeth, I would love to hear from you because I'm also a nurse and I am not a therapist, right? And as a nurse, I would say that my practice is different than what a therapist or a counselor may be doing or speaking about when it comes to some of the patients. Like, I'm really there for the emergency portion of what's going on with that patient in their short-term need for psychiatric care, right? So I do recognize that I will not have all the knowledge that someone who does therapy would have, and I get all of that part of it for sure. But I just think it's like really overused at this point in time. Sarah says my father has plenty of tendencies. I think we many of us know people who have the tendencies, and we've seen so much of it on social media and TV lately. I get that. I really think it's being overused. Okay, Saltine says, I don't trust either of them. The way she is handling this is so friggin' weird to me and is coming off as super calculated, in my opinion. He needs to quit giving her what she wants and get help. They both need to think about when their kids will see this. Yeah, I think my feeling is they're so drawn up and they need more money. I mean, even in Laura's live, she's like, I spent all my savings on him. So I think that they need money right now. I think that's what's going on. The next person says, is Steven sober? No, I do not believe Steven is sober. I mean, he's saying that he's using drugs. So unless he's lying to us, he says that he's using drugs right now. And I think, it could be, now this is very interesting. We'll see later that Steven passed a drug test that the court gave him just a couple of weeks ago. And he literally put up on his social media, he was like, thank God I passed the test. So I really have to wonder what is going on with that. Let's go on to the next one. She can sell her waterfall. Exactly. I mean, or like, she could sell, like, people come to the waterfall and like sit under it. It could be like a theme park ride, or I don't know. I mean, it's just, I look back on that and I'm like, that's a poor decision. Maybe at that point in time, she didn't think Steven was going to go off the deep end. I don't know, but that was a lot for me. Okay, I found this really interesting. MM says, I've personally seen Steven with his kids at the park, and he is so attentive and good with them when he is acting the way he has for years. But using again seems to have unhinged him to where he's only hurting himself because it looks like he is insane and giving all the fuel that anyone would need for family court. I wouldn't let my kids go with their father, who is an addict as well, if he is using and acting publicly like this. But if I did keep them from him, I also don't see it helping anything for him, especially if I also made the whole thing public. He just needs to shut the fuck up for his own good, no matter what, because either way, he's making himself look like the bad guy either way. Now, I agree with that. And that's something I've heard a lot of, is like, people were very positive about Steven early on. I mean, and maybe this is from my own point of view. Okay, I had some people come into my comments and they were like, maybe if you had we can just tell you've never dealt with abuse, you've never been abused in your life, that you would support Steven like this. And I was like, oh, darling, you have no idea what I've been through in my life. Maybe it's because I have been abused in such a way, and this was in my childhood, like gotten the shit beaten out of me, then maybe it does affect me to be like, well, Laura, she's not getting the shit beaten out of her. And maybe that is where I'm blinded by all of this. Maybe that's an issue that I have, but that really bothers me. Like, for people to say that the only reason I would care about Steven or support, some of what's going on with him. No, I have spoken out about things that I think Laura is doing that are contributing to all the problems here, contributing to the chaos. And I think there's definitely a cult of people or a following of people who are so entranced by Laura that you can't say anything, you can't question anything she does. And I like Laura. Like I said, I'm really impressed with how she loves on her son. Yeah, it reminds me of like how I try to be with my own children, where like I really just try to accept them as they are. I love my kids. There are things that we work on to try to help them, but my kids are the best. And I think she kind of does that as well. I like that about her. I want her to go forward and be happy and healthy. I mean, I just also, I've seen some stuff that I needed to speak out about. People can be so crazy just in their love of Laura. And I've seen this with other women like Laura too. It's like, you cannot say anything. You cannot question anything that's going on. And like I said, I can't be that way. I look at like different sides of an equation. I want to know what else is out there, why things are the way they are. Lulu B says there are ways to pass drug screens. Yeah, I think that's kind of what was happening with him, because he did sort of make it like, wow, I can't believe it. It's interesting to me that this person is like, he was a good, attentive father. In Steven's restraining order, in his response to the restraining order, you guys, I didn't put it all out there. I'm going to put it up for people who are on, like, that do my, I guess they pay like $1 or something to be members. I'm going to put it up for members because I haven't done anything for people who are members lately. I'll just put it all up and read it. But in his response to the restraining order, he cites like all these things that he thinks Laura has done over the past couple of years that he thinks are like abusive or neglectful towards his children. Now, I felt that it was like just kind of mostly normal mom stuff. But some people are like, it's not normal mom stuff. I mean, he says stuff like, when Poppy was 3, which I think is kind of funny that he's like going all the way back. He's like, when Poppy was 3, Laura texted me and said that she left her home alone taking a nap because she had to go do something. And he was like, can you imagine? He literally said, like, can you imagine leaving a 3-year-old home alone? What kind of mother is that? That was like the response to his restraining order, which I can see, like, that is kind of weird. To leave a 3-year-old home alone. I could also, like, was there an emergency? I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. And then he goes like, she was bruised. She got her hand like shut in a door. And then like, I don't know. That seems like things that happen. Okay, Elizabeth says, I'm not a qualified therapist or qualified to diagnose, but I do work directly with abuse victims as a crisis counselor. Yeah, I think you would be amazing. You've probably seen a lot of this. And I hear you saying that narcissistic abuse is very common and see the same effects of abuse even with the other person not being diagnosed. Okay. I'd love to hear from you. If you ever want to come up and talk about anything going on with, especially with Laura and Steven, that would be very interesting. I love Laura, but I don't agree with some of the things she's doing. Elizabeth says, it can actually cause the victims to develop borderline because of how it affects their lives. Borderline personality disorder. Okay. Yeah. So let me go back over here. I just feel like it's really hard to watch all of this happening. We've got this person who was supposedly an okay dad before. We've seen a lot of things on social media where he was showing up for his kids. I mean, maybe Laura was just hiding a lot of it. Maybe she was hiding everything that happened. I don't know. And you can see when I do the live, one thing that you'll see is Laura's kind of like vacillating a little bit. She's being like, she's talking to these fans, these supporters, and she's like, I just don't know that I believe he was a bad person always. Like I think he was a good person at one time. And you can see people are typing like, you just don't know, like you're just being, there's so much push from her fan base to focus on the negative 110%, which, I mean, there's a lot of negative going on right now. There's a lot of bullshit going on, but there's never even just like a little bit of an opening. And it's not just for Steven, it's like for Laura. To me, like, okay, here's the thing. If let's say like I got in this situation, like a similar situation to Laura, and I decided that I was going to divorce my husband, I don't want to look back and just think of it like my husband was always a piece of shit. He was always lying. He was always using drugs. Like I want to, for my own peace of mind and for the mental health of my children, I still want to try to see the good in my ex-husband. And I just think it's weird for people to be like, he's always been this way, Laura. You just didn't see it. And what they have done on the Reddit is they've gone back and they found all of his ex-girlfriends and they like screenshot all this stuff about Steven. They contact the ex-girlfriends. They have them come on the Reddit and talk about things. And the ex-girlfriends will be like, yeah, he's totally a narcissist. He did this, he did that. And I'm like, well, you are an ex-girlfriend. But I also, there was some stuff that they said that I was like, oh, come on, Steven. But, all this shit this is what social media is doing to this. He did not pass a drug test. He filed a continuance from his bed. Yeah, he actually did file a continuance from his bed. He said that he passed a drug test for the court. So it's possible he's lying, I guess. But he was like, yay, I'm so glad. I can't believe I passed the test. So I kind of was like, well, I guess he did pass the test. They both really love their kids. Yeah. It's sad because I think Alfie needs both of them. Poppy too. But I mean, people are going to get mad at me. But I just think when you have a child with special needs, I am forever grateful. I really want my son's biological father in his life as much as possible because I think that that's really needed when I have a child that I know is going to struggle or has struggled with certain things. Even like my son struggles with some OCD tendencies and my husband has some of those. So I always am like, oh, but the thing is, you guys, you have each other too. I say that to my husband, like, some of the things we see in Jack, maybe you can help him with some of that stuff. So it's just really hard to think about people just being like, yeah, he's horrible, Laura. You don't even know. Like, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that. That's all I'm saying. Miss Lisa says, I think the kids are paying the ultimate price. Definitely. He just needs a little more time before he can pass that test. Yes. All right. I'm getting pretty tired and I can feel my voice is running out. Let me see if there was anything else I really wanted to show you. Oh, I thought this was interesting. What do you guys think? Let me go back really quickly. This woman wrote to me and I was like, maybe this is bad. Because I said that like Steven was, criticizing Laura for all these like injuries that the kids had. And I thought it was like a normal thing of life. And this woman, Rebe writes, boiling water getting spilled on a child is not okay, nor is it any kind of normal injury like bumps and bruises. That is negligence. Drug abuse is also not acceptable and it is negligence. Neither of these two idiots should be caring for children until they grow up. I can see that. I do think I don't think that's true. I think sometimes things happen. I actually worked in a pediatric burn center and things definitely happen. So I don't think it was that big of a deal from what. Oh, Jill, as an MD in trauma med from psych to major medical incidents and an anesthesiast, sorry, I can't say it, master in psych and biochem, not currently licensed to counsel help with diagnosis, I really needed a break from psych. Yes, for sure. Especially I feel that I always need a break from psych because I have my own psych problems. The internet is cutthroat. And David says, I don't think we are getting the full story. She is being just as erratic as he is. I also feel like she is pushing him for some reason, way she is acting, though I am wondering if she is relapsing. Okay, let me put this up here. David, yes. Okay, this is kind of where I have been with it from the beginning, is I just think there's more going on here. David says, I don't think we're getting the full story. We're not. We're not. I know that, I know it, and I'm sure all of you know it too. It's like, even when I listen to this live from Laura and she gives us all this information, and I was like, oh, I do feel bad for Laura. I know that there's another side to the story, and that's Steven's, and we haven't heard that part of it. And he says she is being just as erratic as he is. I do think that there's just chaos. Someone wrote to me, they were like, I think she's addicted to, what did they say? Because I think she's addicted to the attention, but this person said something else. She's addicted to the chaos. She's addicted to stress. And I do wonder about that, because one thing that's crazy to me is she's raising these two kids. She does have a nanny, but she's also doing she's pumping out podcasts. She does her like, she always puts a funny skit out every day. She posts to her Facebook. She posts to Instagram. Like, that's a lot. Like, is she manic? Like, to be able to do all of that reminds me, she's nothing like Katie Joy, but I do think about like how Katie Joy just kind of like manically can hop around from community to community and post on so many different social media sites. And I just think that when someone devotes so much time to all of that, like, how are they really, it must be very stressful. How are they really like able to get away from it? Do you know what I mean? Like, here's Laura. She's hopping on a live. She's already done a comedy skit for the day. She's done a podcast that day. And now she's hopping on a live and she's talking to all the same people who have been commenting on all of her videos. Like, when does she have time to be with her kids? Steven does say, like, in the RO towards Laura, he's like, she's on her phone all the time. And I believe that. Now, I'm on my phone a lot too, but I believe like that in order to pump out that amount of material, you would have to be using your phone or your computer like most of the day. So it's just hard. I took a full leave of absence for 8 months. I'm just Molly Lollipops. I read one of your comments earlier. You weren't here for it. I'm just getting here. So if it's already been said, but she's needing money, that's why she's pushing out the content. I feel bad for her situation, but I don't know what to think. I agree with that. I mean, I agree. And so in this live, she basically says it. She's like, I used up all of my savings on Steven. I mean, she makes it like on Steven, but I would say you used it up on 2 houses, Steven, and that $150,000 waterfall, girl. You forgot all that other stuff too. I think like Steven kind of said that he thinks she took out the RO because he bought the new car. And I think it was like the last straw. Like, I think the car was like a last straw, maybe. There's like, I'm giving her credit there. There was a lot of other shit that she, is bad shit. But I think when he got that car and now she's on her live saying, I've been the one supporting us for 2 years. He hasn't been making any money. At first I questioned that, you guys. I was like, maybe Laura's not telling the truth. And then I went back, I researched, and I found these videos of Steven literally being like, and this was like 2 years ago. He was like, I make way more money supporting Laura in her social media than I ever made as a composer. So I'm not doing that anymore. She makes millions on her social media. So I'm doing that with her. And that's kind of what she said. She's like, I would make him a producer of everything so he could get paid for it. He was coming in and acting really erratically. Another thing that's been happening with him that she talks about in this live stream on her Patreon is she says like he's very... oh my God, I can't think of the word. He's always like coming up with an idea that people are like doing weird things. What's the word? You guys know what the word is. Like, he's like, that guy over there, he's trying to steal, the forks from our cabinet. And it'll just be like really crazy shit that Laura will be like, what are you talking about? And so when he was the producer of like some different things that she was doing, she was like, the people that were working with me were like, he's crazy. Like, he was doing stuff that was making people not want to be part of my show or work with me anymore. Yeah, he does. He is a conspiracy nut. Yeah, he's basically delusional. And I think it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And as I said earlier, I love conspiracy people. I love them. But if it's like starting to affect your family, you can't get away from it. That's a whole other issue. Girl, he is lying. The court would not order a drug test at this point. All right, you may know better than I. I mean, I don't know. I've never ran out of a drug test. So, he's like, I love that. Girl, he is lying. The court would not order a drug test at this point. You dumbass. Yeah. That's totally possible. He could be lying about everything. I've had some people come to me too, and they're like, Katie, you are such a pushover. You believe anything. I do. I want to believe the best in people most of the time. Okay, so this is where I am with this family. I am still learning. I am still digging. I'll probably make a couple more videos about it. I'm glad that you guys have been here. I love the comments. It helps me go through and see other people's point of view. The Ace family, the dad was acting a straight fool during the divorce to make money. Okay, I don't know the Ace family. So maybe that's something I should look into, because I probably go down that rabbit hole. He is a liar. Trust Laura. Are you a liar? You could be him for all I know. You could be Laura under a fake name. I don't know. Okay, here's the other thing that you guys probably don't know about me. When I started social media a couple of years ago, I was like a babe in the woods. I trusted everything. I trusted everybody. I thought everybody had the same intentions as me, which, I mean, my intentions, I'm going to be honest with you, are just like to have fun, I want to be a good person. I don't really want to hurt anyone. If people write on my videos, they're like, this is awful towards Laura, I do feel bad about it. You know, I care about people. Okay. I would never lie, cheat, swindle. Okay. In the 2 years that I've been on social media, I've been stalked. I've had people pretend to be me. I've had people do awful things to me. I've had people try to take me to court. I've had people do things that I never knew were possible. Pretend, I don't know, to come up with some way to make it look like I was saying something. I don't know. I have seen people do horrible, and I have a much smaller fan base than Laura and Steven. So even with the hacking stuff, when people are like, no, Steven 100% did it, I'm like, I really need to see evidence of that, because people have said all kinds of shit about me. They lie, they make things up. And there's something wrong with, I think, a small group of people who come to the internet, who come to social media just to fuck with us, to fuck with me and fuck with all of you. That's what they do. I had no idea. It has affected me. It has changed my life. It's changed the way that I deal with my YouTube channel, my social media. It has affected my kids. It has affected my husband. We are disgusted by the people who have done this to me. And I know my husband was like, do not let them take your YouTube channel away. You get on there, they don't take my YouTube channel away, but he's like, don't give up on your YouTube channel, because these people, they're the problem, not you. You didn't do anything wrong. So I have seen things that would make me really question what's going on here. And a lot of you you haven't seen that. You're just a normal person. You comment on these. I have seen shit go down, and I don't know what's going on in the background. And also the lies that people tell are really crazy. So let's see what I'm going to say. Okay, with Katie Joy, she has sent me emails that are just crazy. The emails are basically you better never tell anyone that I sent you this email, or else I'll take you to court. And it's an email, it's just about don't ever talk about me again. Don't put any content about me online. And then she would go to her channel and get really mad at people who don't, if Duggars don't want her to talk about them. She's like, I have every right to talk about anyone that I want to. So just the things that people do behind the scenes versus how they are Okay, David says, I am a streamer also, and I'm with you. That Steph said about me in the stories, if only I've ever done half the stuff they say. Okay, because I mean, that's what I've seen as well. And I haven't really had it that bad. I mean, I think what's happening to Laura and Steven is explode. I mean, that's what I'm getting at, is all these people are, they're following them and they're fucking around with them. Let's be honest. When I saw Laura's live stream and people in the live stream were like, we found Steven's address. We know exactly where he is in Arizona. I'm like, calm down, like chill. And Laura's like, well, thank you. These are my people. They're great detectives. And I'm like, Laura, no, these people are not going to be there in the middle of the night when Alfie's up and you need a partner to be there helping you. I'm not saying that person's going to be Steven, but like, don't listen to these people about your family situation. That's how I feel. All right. Much love to all of you. I love all of you. I wonder if maybe next time we could have people come up and talk. I would love that. Something to think about. I'll see if I can find anyone who wants to come on. Sometimes Lulu B comes on. And I have a couple of other people in mind, but even if you're just someone like Ivana, Adriana, I don't know if you would ever want to come on and chat, but I would like that. That would be fun. I'll make a couple more videos about these two, and then I'm going to be moving on to Todd Chrisley. Oh, hello, goodbye. Hello, goodbye. You seem to know a lot of things. Also, he did not buy that car. He rented it. LOL. Yeah, actually, I realized that later because he did say, I realized like he wrote at the bottom of all the pictures, he was like, there's money to be paid and paperwork to be signed. But for now, I'm just having a good time. Yeah, you're right. He did rent it. He didn't actually buy it. Teresa T. Good to see you. Good to see you. Really nice to see you. Yeah, I'm streaming a little bit. I think once I get to Africa, I won't have internet. So for now, packing everything up, moving on. I love all you guys, and I'm glad to have you here. One last time, we'll do this, and then we will be out. Let me show you this. Let's do this. I'm doing this, Steven, because you said that shit about how you married down. So I'm sorry. We got to do the song one more time.
It's easier than coping. I'm Stephen Hilton, the world-renowned composer. The sound